Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer. Thanks to Rav for this one. Amy uses clone to copy her Isamaru, Hound of Kanda. A couple of turns later, she attacks with both, then realizes that Isamaru is legendary and calls a judge. What is the appropriate infraction, penalty, and fix? Alright, so just to make sure that everybody is on the same page here, when you copy a creature, that includes both the original creature's name and its type line. This is the reason why a lot of newer cards have a carve-out that says the copy isn't legendary or keeps its original name. Unfortunately, Clone was printed before Wizards started making every creature that was worth copying legendary. Heck, it was printed before any creatures were legendary, so it doesn't have anything like this. Therefore, after Clone resolved, Amy would control two legendary creatures with the same name, meaning that she would have to put one of them into the graveyard. This should have happened immediately after the clone entered, and not doing so is an infraction called a game rule violation. The normal penalty would be a warning. Nick will also get a warning for an infraction called failure to maintain game state, because he also bears some responsibility for making sure the game is being played correctly, even though these are Amy's cards. As for the fix, if you're a fan of the channel, you might recall that there are three policy-supported options for the fix on a GRV. A partial fix, leaving the game state as is, or backing up to the point of the error. In this case, we do have a partial fix that seems applicable. Now, some judges might argue that the fix I've shown on screen may not apply because the exact object that should be subject to the partial fix is indeterminate. Amy needs to choose which of her legendary permanents to sacrifice, and she's not made such a choice yet. For me, this objection seems too technical, in my opinion, as that the situation described in the original problem statement fits within the cases that this partial fix is intended to cover. Now, this being the case, the fix would be for Amy to just pick either the clone or the Isamaru and put it into her graveyard at that time. Now, let's consider a related scenario, though, where Amy equips a Bone Splitter to a Tel Jalad Chosen and doesn't notice until a few turns later. Having protection from artifacts means it is not legal to target Tel Jalad Chosen with an artifact's activated ability, such as the equip ability of Bone Splitter. Therefore, we have a similar situation as before, except that no partial fix is applicable. This means we're down to two options, either attempting to back up or leave the game state as is. Now, like before, attempting to back up to the point where the illegal play happened would not generally be doable, so we would leave the game state as is for this case. Fortunately, there's a state-based action that makes the Bone Splitter fall off the permanent with protection from artifacts, so that would happen pretty much immediately anyway. One common objection that I get in calls like this is that Amy is benefiting from her mistake, and that's true. Occasionally, players will propose that Amy should get some sort of additional penalty to counteract this advantage. For example, adjusting Nick's life points up if Amy attacked with the Tel Jalad Chosen while it was equipped. Unlike some other TCGs, Magic does not support this kind of fix. The only direct adjustments to the game state that the judge gets to perform for a GRV in Magic are those necessary to effect a backup, if applicable, or those on a narrow list of partial fixes. There's also no policy support for some equivalent to an intellect penalty or a prize card penalty in cases where the impact on the game state is less clear. The principal reason for this is consistency. Even in the best case scenario, the impacts of a mistake on the game state are very difficult to fully understand. Generally, any exceptions to this are simple enough situations that a backup is possible. Consider the scenario from the original problem statement. Maybe Amy got through for more damage because she had an extra attacker. Maybe Nick didn't attack where he otherwise would have because Amy had an additional blocker. Interpreting the impact on the game and translating that into some adjustment to a resource that may or may not have anything to do with that play adds a lot of variability into the potential outcome of a judge call. Having a policy that gives players clear expectations about this sort of thing has value, even when it leads to occasional instances of a player getting penalized unduly softly or harshly. Now, this said, if Nick is really concerned about the advantage Amy gained as a matter of perspective, well, he does bear some responsibility for the error too. But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. Until then, I hope you have a great day.